He's a completist, not a defeatist. Colors comics year after year. Supreme comic book leader. Fight for the justice that is blind. An advocate, not a terminator. With the awesome power of his mind. He speaks for the devil in red.
This is the Fan Without Fear Completist Retrospective. My name is Nick, the Fan Without Fear. Let's take a look at what's on our radar for today. Daredevil Flashback -1, A Time to Say Farewell. Now, depending on your age, you probably remember Marvel's Flashback event. In July of 1997, Marvel interrupted the ongoing storylines for a lot of their major titles, including X-Men, The Amazing Spider-Man, Daredevil, even Elektra, and released issues numbered -1. Now, these were all prequel stories, but they're actually pretty good. There's no midichlorians or anything like that. These are prequel stories that work because they just focus on the major characters of the stories. As a general rule, prequel stories are usually a no thank you for me. I just think they're dumb. Either they wander off into unrecognizable versions of a beloved fictional universe, or worse yet, they are overloaded with incredible coincidences, weird moments, and meta-jokes which leave younger versions of our favorite characters winking at the camera. Suddenly, every minor character across a galaxy is connected, Kevin Bacon style, to an unremembered relative or ancestor, and stories are weighed down by forced explanations. Prequels work when creators remember the term is based on sequel, as in sequential. A good prequel story is one which precedes the established starting point in a larger story's overall sequence of events. Flashback Daredevil -1 takes place at the start of Matt Murdock's collegiate career, which puts this 1997 story in sequence right before the events of Daredevil #1 from 1964. Now, if you missed my last episode, you may have it in your head that Daredevil #1 starts with Matt as a child, but it doesn't. All the material in Daredevil #1 about Matt studying school books, being blinded, and gaining superpowers is all shown in a lengthy flashback sequence. The first issue of Daredevil actually begins right after Matt first donned his horns for his mission to confront his father's killers. Essentially, this prequel story depicts one of the last days Matt Murdock spent with his father, battling Jack Murdock, before the aging boxer was murdered. The drab color choices in this issue are a bit of a letdown, but the art itself has an awesome classic feel from the pencil of longtime Daredevil artist Gene Colan. Mr. Colan's art will be featured in this retrospective frequently, as he drew Hornhead during long runs in the 60s and 70s, and he briefly returned to the book in 1997. As a fun gimmick for the flashback books, Stan Lee cameos as our narrator, but this book was actually written by Joe Kelly. Mr. Kelly has an extensive body of work writing for comics and animated television, but during the time of this particular issue's release, Joe Kelly was writing the Daredevil title after his successful run on Deadpool, which helped popularize the internet's favorite comic anti-hero. This, of course, was years before Van Wilder was asked to nearly destroy the anti-hero in a completely unnecessary and frankly bizarre prequel appearance in an X-Men movie. Our prequel plot is focused around Jack Murdock moving his son Matt into his dorm at State College. And I know what you're going to say. Yes, Matt Murdock's law degree is from Columbia University. But apparently, the Man Without Fear's undergrad came from State, the same college where years earlier Reed Richards and Ben Grimm were roommates before becoming Fantastic Four teammates, Mr. Fantastic and The Thing. Also, some weird foreign kid went there too, but now I'm getting way off track. Interestingly, the central conflict in this flashback comic is not between a hero and a villain, but between an overprotective father and a son with a perceived disability. Matt is coming of age and is eager to stand on his own, but Jack is carrying guilt over failing to protect his son from the accident which blinded him, and now Jack is out to fight all of Matt's battles. The younger Murdoch becomes angry with his father when Jack makes a public scene with the dean of students. There's great continuity here as Gene Colan depicts the character as the same dean who presides over Matt and Foggy's graduation in Daredevil #1. Though hardly a B-plot, this story does a better job of establishing Matt's friendship with his new roommate and future law partner, Foggy Nelson, than the original 60s origin. This comic treats us to Nelson and Murdoch's very first meeting. Foggy endears himself to Matt by clumsily joking about blindness and becoming extremely embarrassed when he realizes his new friend is literally blind. At dinner time, Jack takes his son to eat at an off-campus bar. Some dangerous locals harass and threaten the blind college student, which leaves Jack in real doubt about leaving Matt alone for college. Later that same night, both father and son secretly return to the same bar to settle a score with the thugs. Jack arrives just in time to watch his completely capable son play up his blindness and make a big show of beating up thugs in mock clumsiness. The next morning, as Jack is ready to board the bus back to the city, Matt begins to feel his first real moment of natural apprehension over being separated from his father for the first time. It's genuinely touching to see Matt face this doubt, but then this otherwise great book distracts us with its only weird prequel moment. As he says his goodbyes, Jack assures his son he is a man without fear. At first, it's cool to think Matt is called Man Without Fear based on kind words from his late father, but no, that's dumb. I'm pretty sure people only call him the Man Without Fear because he started calling himself Daredevil. The yellow tights were a pretty fearless choice too, though. Despite the one prequel gimmick they snuck in on us at the end there, this is a heartwarming story, grounded in realistic coming-of-age conflict and driven by established characters. If this story, and in particular the Jack Murdoch character, appeal to you, I'll recommend you read a 2007 4-part miniseries, Daredevil Battlin' Jack, by Zeb Wells and Carmine Di Giandemencio. It's another great exploration of this father wanting to protect his son. That's your short and sweet Daredevil prequel. Definitely worth picking up at your local comic shop. Most of the flashback books are actually pretty easy to find in the $1.50 bins, so look for it. And don't forget to look for us on Facebook and Twitter. And subscribe for more content from the Fan Without Fear Completist Retrospective. Until next time, always live without fear.